First, the headlines. The Ministry of Water Resources has announced that the filling rate of Algeria's 65 dams scattered across the country has exceeded 80%. Several education unions led by the KNAPist will stage open-ended strikes starting from tomorrow, Monday, to press for socio-professional claims. And in the United States, the horrific slaughter of 3 Muslim students of North Carolina has blown up the social media networks. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching Dzair News and welcome to this English News edition. First, in our top stories, Qatari Assistant Foreign Minister of International Cooperation, Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdulrahman bin Jassim Al Thani, said that his visit to Algeria will focus on examining new investment projects and monitoring the ones already launched. Soon after being greeted by the Minister of Industry and Mines, Abdeslam Bouchouareb, at Houari Boumediene Airport of Algiers, the Qatari minister said that his visit aims at preparing for the visit that the Qatar's Prime Minister is expected to pay to Algeria next month. He added that it will be an opportunity to examine the outcome of Algerian Premier Saleh's visit to Qatar last November and the results of the Algerian-Qatari High Joint Cooperation Commission. The visiting of Qatari minister indicated that his delegation will review brand new investment projects here in Algeria, in addition to current joint venture projects as the Bilara Street Complex in Jijil in the eastern part of the country. In local news, the fuel crisis now besetting numerous provinces apparently have spread further to affect major northern cities of the country, resulting in chaos and endless queues of petrol stations. According to the national company Naftal in charge of the supply of petroleum-based fuels, there is no crisis, but the latter blamed instead some citizens for spreading scarcity-related rumors upon seeing long queues at the petrol stations. Mustafa Azouk and the details.
It appears that the fuel crisis has spread further to affect all the major provinces of the country. Before, it was only limited in few cities. Now, being stuck in long queues at gas stations have become a horror for commuters who are forced to wait for hours to refuel their vehicles before setting off to work. I'm heading to Iran now, but I cannot go because I'm stuck in this endless queue. It's been 3 hours now. This crisis is causing too many problems. We're stuck in these queues. We cannot go to work. Dzair News followed the story and spoke to an official at the National Federation of Gas Stations regarding the crisis. He affirmed that the crisis has nothing to do with fuel supply, but instead blamed the commuters for it. Whereas the national company Naftal, which is in charge of supplying petroleum-based fuels, said there is no crisis regarding fuel supply, but in the same time accused the citizens of spreading rumors upon seeing long queues at gas stations. Who is behind the long queues at gas stations across several provinces is yet to be determined.
The Minister of Water Resources, Hossein Nassib, has announced that the filling rate of Algeria's 65 dams scattered across the country has exceeded 80%, the highest rate ever reached during the first week of February since the country's independence. More details with Mohamed Waraswan.
The additional water inflow following the heavy rainfalls in the north of the country from the 1st to the 8th of February exceeded 855 million cubic meters, bringing up the filling rate of dams nationwide to 80.04%, a record level ever recorded since Algeria's independence during this period of the year. 18 dams are now 100% full, while about 30 others are 95% full at present, the minister added. During the first week of February 2015, the water inflow into Algiers' western region dams amounted to over 25 million cubic meters, increasing the filling rate up to 88.83%, while it exceeded 157 million cubic meters in the Chelif region dams, which are now over 70% full. The dams of Algiers' central region, meanwhile, recorded a water inflow of 284 million cubic meters, and others filled at around 72%. While the dams of the eastern region of the country have received over 387 million cubic meters of rainwaters, and have become 84% full, thus bringing immense relief to the citizens in terms of regular drinking water supply across the country.
Street protests against the authorities' projected exploitation of shale gas have continued to the 47th day in the In Salah region in southern Tamras province. Dzair news sources in the region reported that strict security measures were taken this morning during a gathering of local angry residents who attended a lecture raising awareness about the dangers of shale gas drillings delivered by university expert. The same sources revealed the sudden deaths of a number of migratory birds near a drilling site located in the Ahnat area, which lies about 30 kilometers south of In Salah itself. And let's shift now to the turbulent national education sector, as several education unions, led by the KNAPEST, will stage open-ended strikes starting from tomorrow, Monday, while arguing the relevant authorities to address their pending grievances amid this conflicting showdown. The helpless students remain the only victims. More details with Mustafa Azzouk.
12 months have passed after the open-ended strike that was staged in February 2014. Apparently was enough to come up with the conclusion that the Ministry of Education does not consider holding dialogues as a way to address the issues raised by the unions, which prompted the latter to hold on to their demands by staging open-ended strikes starting from tomorrow. And this is according to the Secretary General of the union KNAPEST, Masoud Boudiba, who called on the relevant authorities to swiftly solve the worsening situation of the educational sector. We have noticed that the representatives of the educational sector do not have the will to solve the deteriorating situation of the educational sector, nor addressing our demands. Despite showing good intention from the Ministry of Education during the last encounter with the KNAPEST union to solve the thorny issues, several education unions led by KNAPEST have insisted on concrete results regarding their demands, including the promotion of teachers within this sector. Amid this long-lasting crisis between the Minister of Education and the education unions, the helpless students are caught up in the midst of these conflicting views.
In other local news, the Algerian dinar's value has dropped to about 10%, and it continues to drop, causing a rise in both imported goods and local production commodities, leading to another level of austerity amid serious concerns among the national public opinion. Osama Snoussi and the details.
The Bank of Algeria, the highest monetary authority in the country, is required to save the local currency from the continuous deterioration of its value in order to spare the citizens from wasting their money under the pretext of cautious management of the dinar's value and the voluntary reduction of its exchange from major currencies.
If the dinar continues to drop, as so many experts and heads of official monetary foundations say, we will see a remarkable
The countries of the region have to understand that breaking Syria is not going to serve anyone. So what they have to do is unite to help Syria and protect legitimate rights. Those who say that it will blast and get worse are wrong. I personally don't think that will happen, but we will have a Somali-like situation.
And concerning the Libyan crisis and the tremendous efforts made by Algeria to solve the crisis, Mr. LAKHDAR Brahimi stated that these efforts do originally stem from Algeria's brotherly ties with Libya, and that at the same time he warned against the nefarious spread of ISIS in the Maghreb region.
What we have here is a moral responsibility. Libyans are our neighbors and our brothers. And besides that, what is happening there can affect us. So all in all, I would say that helping Libya in all ways is our duty. And I believe that Algerians are trying to do so.
Moving on to the international news scene, and in the latest on the thorny Ukrainian file, the Ukrainian government and pro-Russian rebels have traded accusations of fresh attacks only hours into the ceasefire agreed by them went into effect. The ceasefire is seen as a first step in a peace plan aimed at ending 10 months of bitter conflict in the eastern Ukraine. And with regard to the Yemen issue, the Gulf Cooperation Council, including Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates, has urged the Shia Houthi rebels in Yemen to pull out of the Sana'a capital, which the armed militia overran in September. The Gulf monarchies said their own security was linked to that of Yemen and vowed in a statement to take all necessary measures to defend their interests without elaborating. KAREEM, ZACHARY, and the details.
A top-level meeting of Yemeni officials to discuss the country's political crisis has called on neighboring Gulf countries to intervene in the country. The lawmakers from the dissolved parliament and politicians met in Aden and agreed to move the capital there from Houthi-controlled Sana'a. The Houthi rebels seized control of the country a few days after dissolving the legislature. The meeting on Sunday was delayed for several hours after explosive devices were found at the location. The gathering was held to unify efforts against the Houthi rebels and the coup carried out by them. Meanwhile, the UN Security Council is due to adopt a resolution on Sunday urging the Shia rebels to step down, release government officials, and negotiate. Diplomats said the draft resolution demands the rebels to immediately and unconditionally withdraw forces from government institutions, release President Abdurrabbu Mansour Hadi and his cabinet from house arrest, and engage in good faith in UN-led peace talks. Alarmed and worried that Shia powerhouse Iran is backing the rebels, the largely Sunni Muslim states of the Council have demanded a resolution that condemns the Houthis and acts under Chapter 7 of the UN Charter, meaning it can be militarily enforced. The draft emerged just 2 days after UN Secretary-General Ban Ki-moon told the Council that Yemen was collapsing before our eyes. Jordan and Britain quickly began working on a draft resolution. At least 9 countries, including the United States, have closed their embassies in Yemen in the past few days.
Reports from Denmark say police have shot and killed a man they believe carried out 2 gun attacks which left 2 people dead in the capital Copenhagen. At a press conference, police said video surveillance indicated the man was behind attacks on a free speech event on Saturday and Copenhagen's main synagogue early on Sunday. The man was shot dead early on Sunday after opening fire on police. Elsewhere in the United States, the horrific slaughter of 3 Muslim students of North Carolina by what seems to be a self-proclaimed atheist has blown the social media with allegations that the victims were killed because of Islamophobic hate crime and that the media is taking the issue with a grain of salt. KAREEM, ZACHARY, and the details.
The murder of the 3 Muslim students on Tuesday, apparently by self-proclaimed atheists, set social media ablaze with allegations that the victims were killed because of Islamophobia. But the truth was more complicated. Not only is the suspect a political progressive who loves Rachel Maddow and hates the Tea Party, he appears to hate all religions too. And he was apparently involved in a personal dispute with the victims as well. Craig Stephen Hicks, 46, was arrested and charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder and is being held in the Durham County Jail, according to the News and Observers. And his social media profile will make liberals cringe. A review of the Facebook page of the men charged in these murders, Craig Hicks, shows a consistent theme of anti-religion and progressive causes. According to the Daily Mail, the killings might have been set off by a parking dispute between Hicks and the victims, identified as Shadi Barakat, 23, his wife Yusuf Muhammad, 21, and her sister Razan Muhammad Abu Salah, 19. But Hicks' animus toward religion might also have played a role. According to reports, the alleged killer made anti-religion posts on his Facebook page, not anti-Muslim posts, anti-religion, as he posted a banner and other paraphernalia promoting atheism. Regardless, news organization after news organization pushed the Muslim victim narrative. CNN, for example, tweeted 3 Muslim students shot to death in Chapel Hill, NC. Did their faith play a role in the killings? The hint being the killings were motivated by the victims' Islamic faith. Why is the media pushing the fact that the victims were Muslims as if to suggest this was a crime of Islamophobia when the men clearly had issues with all religions? Would the outrage be the same if Hicks stood accused of shooting Christians, Catholics, or Jews? A small sampling of some of the varied responses from the Twitterverse include: Western media completely silent after 3 innocent Muslim students killed. 3 Muslim college students shot and killed in North Carolina and the media don't give a damn. And then there is CNN Sally Khan. First, she retweeted an old tweet. Muslim shooter equals entire religion guilty. Black shooter, entire race guilty. White shooter, a mentally troubled lone wolf. And then she continued on her "the killings were racist" narrative. If Muslim had shot 3 white students, this would dominate today's media coverage. Indeed, this media silence has stirred a lot of reactions in the social media as to answer the question of what is the catch here.
And finally, in science news, NASA has released an impressive time-lapse video of our sun to mark 5 years since the U.S. Space Agency's Solar Dynamics Observatory (SDO) project began. The video shows off the highlights of NASA boffins gazing at Old Sol. Capturing an image more than once per second, SDO has provided an unprecedentedly clear picture of how massive explosions on the sun grow and erupt ever since its launch on February 11, 2010. The NASA imagery is also captivating, allowing one to watch the constant string of solar material through the sun's atmosphere, the corona. The end of our English news edition, brought to you live from Dzair News channel. Thank you so much for tuning our way. Bye-bye.